What's up guys, my name is Fozy, and today I'm here to show you the fundamentals and some advanced techniques for the Orochi class in For Honor. The Orochi is one of For Honor's assassin classes. He has low health but is very agile and has a number of tools to avoid damage and counterattack his opponent. This makes him particularly powerful in the hands of someone with quick reflexes. First, let's get into the Orochi's basic attacks. The Orochi's side light attack speed is average. It's slow enough that an enemy can probably block it on reaction, but you can throw these out occasionally to test your opponent's defense, or train him to block in a particular direction before coming in from another angle. His top light attack is very fast and will be one of your go-to buttons. His top heavy attacks are faster than the side heavies, but they're all still slow enough that experienced players can see them coming and react. It's usually unwise to throw them out randomly, as doing so will often result in getting parried and eating big damage. Heavy attacks are mainly used following a throw or a knockdown for the highest possible guaranteed damage. One of the Orochi's fastest and most damaging moves is his top light combo. Whenever you attack with top light, if the hit connects, you can immediately attack with another light that is guaranteed to hit. These buttons must be pressed in rapid succession. The Orochi has the ability to throw a light attack off of a dodge in any direction. This is called a Zephyr Strike and is one of the most common and easy ways to avoid damage and counterattack your opponent. Dashing forward and inputting a light attack is called a Lightning Strike. This is a good gap closer and catches a lot of people off guard. You can input the light attack at any time during your dash. This gives you the ability to cover a lot of distance by hitting the attack button as late as possible in the dash. This move is great for punishing backdashes. If you dash forward to engage and they try and run away, you can input the attack and it will continue to move you forward at a high speed. Storm Rush is probably my favorite tool in the Orochi kit. It is an incredible gap closer and gives the Orochi a lot of mobility. Storm Rush is done by dashing back and holding heavy attack. The Orochi will go into a crouch-like position where he looks like he's going to pounce. This can be held for any amount of time, and once heavy attack is released, the Orochi will dash forward and attack from the side. You can also change the direction of the Storm Rush attack by holding left as you backdash before you hold down the heavy attack button. When using Storm Rush, you can also cancel it immediately or after releasing heavy attack and taking a step. This allows you to set up for a counterattack if you see your opponent with something heavy, but it will also allow you to safely cancel it and return to a neutral stance if they do nothing. If Storm Rush connects, you can immediately attack with the top light combo. This is a guaranteed 3-hit combo if the Storm Rush hits, against most characters most of the time. Every now and then I will fail to fully combo it. It's all based on the amount of time your opponent is staggered from your Storm Rush hit. I think it's definitely character specific and probably has to do with the range you are from your opponent when you start to Storm Rush. I haven't quite figured it out yet, but if anyone knows the specifics, please let me know in the comments below. This is another attack that is very telegraphed. Your opponent can see your direction of attack way in advance before you even start the actual attack animation, and the indicator is displayed the entire duration that the Orochi runs to his opponent. It can be very easy for an experienced player to read a Storm Rush and parry it and punish you. As you start to fight better players, avoid using this move to initiate. Instead, combine it with feints and dodges to bait your opponent into whiffing a move and use Storm Rush as a punisher. Riptide Strike can be done by holding back and inputting a top heavy attack. Riptide Strike is similar to Storm Rush in that it's a dodge followed by a counterattack. The difference is that the range and speed are much shorter than Storm Rush. It's less effective against characters with long range, like Nobushi or Lawbringer, but more effective against quick characters like Peacekeeper or another Orochi. Hitting light attack 3 times in a row will chain together. Hitting heavy twice in a row will also chain together. This has a lot of potential for damage and is definitely the most damaging combo you can do if you manage to knock someone down. However, it costs a lot of stamina and is much more likely to be blocked or parried than a string of light attacks. Do so only if you are sure it's safe, or if you're crazy and willing to risk it. 2 light attacks can be chained after a heavy as well. These attacks can come from any direction, in any order. Top, 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 left, right, top, whatever. The key here is to use chains sparingly and to avoid a pattern when you do use them. Keep switching it up to make it as difficult as possible for your opponent to read and block your attacks. As an assassin class, the Orochi has a limited time that his guard stays active before it resets to the neutral position and must be put up again. After a couple seconds, your guard will fall, meaning if you are getting hit with chain attacks, you must press a direction every time there is an incoming hit, even if the attacks are coming from the same direction. Deflecting is accomplished by dodging in the direction of an attack at the moment of impact, just like a parry. For those of you familiar with other sword fighting games or sword abilities in RPGs, deflecting is the same as a riposte. It's a soft parry followed immediately by a counter attack. After a deflect, you can immediately input a light or heavy attack for a follow-up. A light attack after a deflect will be a guaranteed combo. This can also be chained into further light attacks, just like any other light attack. A heavy attack after a deflect can do a lot of damage, but it's not a guaranteed hit, and it's even slower than a normal heavy attack. If your opponent reacts, they can throw out an attack and interrupt you before your heavy attack will connect. The heavy attack following a deflect can be cancelled into a grab, which adds another layer to the mind games. Attempting to deflect to the sides is relatively safe, because you can usually dodge slower attacks even if you don't time the deflect perfectly. However, if you mistime a deflect top and you dodge forward into an opponent's heavy attack, you could end up eating a significant amount of damage. I avoid trying to deflect top at all since the risk is much higher, and instead just block and parry top and deflect to the sides. You might be thinking, if parrying and deflecting are both done at the moment of impact against an attack, which one should I use? The answer is, it depends. You always want to parry whenever you are confident you can land the parry, usually against heavy attacks. There are 2 reasons why: stamina and damage. Parrying an opponent makes them incur a huge stamina penalty, on top of the stamina they already had to spend to throw the move out in the first place. Parrying is also more guaranteed follow-up damage than a deflect. The only unblockable follow-up from a deflect is a light attack. This can be chained into another light or 2, but only the first hit is a guaranteed combo. A parry will get you a guaranteed untechable grab against most characters, which you can then follow into a guaranteed heavy. The exception to this is some characters with longer range, such as Kensei and Nobushi. For those characters, a top light combo is your guaranteed follow-up attack. Deflecting seems to be most effective against characters that are faster, whose attacks may be easier to dodge and deflect rather than trying to block and parry. Feinting is something every class in For Honor can do, but the Orochi has one of the fastest feints in the game. Feinting combined with his quick movement and certain fast attacks gives you a lot of potential to confuse your opponent by forcing them to constantly switch their guard and guess where you're going to attack from next. Since feint recovery is so quick, you can block or even dodge attacks that other characters would be too slow to dodge. And if you can dodge, that means you can deflect. Feinting is a great way to get around players that are playing defensive and are focusing on parrying your attacks. When you throw a heavy and then cancel it, your opponent that tries to parry you will end up throwing out a whiffed heavy attack instead. This in turn gives you the chance to parry them. Watch out though, once a skilled opponent knows you're doing that, then they can start feinting your feints, and the mind tricks begin. The faster your first attack after a feint, the more likely it is to hit. Top light is one of your primary damage dealing moves, and since it's so fast, it only makes sense that feinting into top light is one of the most effective ways to dish out damage. You can feint to the side to get your opponent to change their block stance, or you can feint top and then interrupt a heavy attack or throw attempt with your lightning fast top light. The Orochi's zone attack is an excellent poke tool. It doesn't do a ton of damage, but it comes out really fast and is very difficult for your opponent to block unless they are anticipating it. This is a great move to throw out at the end of a combo for some extra damage. Be very careful when using this move though. It's effective, but dangerous if used poorly. It costs half your total stamina, so if you're going to become exhausted as a result of using it, make sure it either seals a kill or gets your opponent low enough that they are afraid to be offensive while you recover from exhaustion. It also has a very long recovery time, so if your opponent dodges it, or if you're out of range, expect to get punished. The zone attack can be a great way to chip away at an opponent who's playing defensive, especially when combined with feints. Feint a top or right side heavy and throw a zone attack for some easy damage. Make sure that you are at full stamina before attempting to do this, and it's usually wise to immediately back off to recover before attempting to ramp up an offense again. Be careful when using this move against characters like the Shigoki, who have armor. A zone attack will do some damage, but it will not interrupt their moves, and you will get punished. In general, there are two main things I try to keep in mind when I'm playing Orochi. The first is to be patient. Don't throw out unsafe moves like random heavy attacks, or use too many chains. The Orochi is built for counterattacking, so utilize your defense and let your opponents make the mistakes, then punish them for it. The second is to watch your stamina bar like a hawk. It's easy to get overzealous once you get an offense going and drain your stamina, and an exhausted Orochi is a dead Orochi. I can't tell you how many times I've lost the game because I went a little too ham and almost perfected someone, but ran out of stamina in an enclosed area and got knocked into a wall, knocked down, and destroyed in a matter of seconds. That's all I've got for now, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you learned something new today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe. I've gotten a fair amount of Orochi play under my belt, but I'm far from the best, so if there's anything I'm missing, or anything I've said that you think's inaccurate, please let me know in the comments section below. Until next time.